YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to Paul's Wrath. My name is JD, and today we're doing a prediction video for the Rock-type challenge of Generation 1. We weren't going to do this for a while. We're still knee-deep in the Ground-type challenge. We've got 2 Pokemon left, Dugtrio and Marowak. Those will be done this Friday and next Friday, and then the following Friday, we will be having a recap of the Ground-type challenge. However, today, we were supposed to do a video about Gligar, an optimized playthrough of Pokemon Crystal, but it hasn't been going well, and I really want to put a good representation of this Pokemon out there. I think it has a lot of things it can do, but we haven't been having good luck with the optimized playthrough. It's good up to a point, and then we just hit a wall, and I got to figure out how to get through this wall. Eventually, I mean, if I can't get a good run this weekend, I'm just going to post the original one, and just, it is what it is. The chips fall where they may. But today, we're going to do the Rock-type prediction, and there's 6 Pokemon that are going to be in the Rock-type challenge. We're going to go from worst to best. The worst Pokemon, in my opinion, is going to be Onix. Onix is a garbage Pokemon. It is the Rock Snake Pokemon. Its stats are as follows: HP 35, Attack is 45, Defense is 160, Special is 30, and Speed is 70. Defense is 160. It's one of the highest defenses in the game, and 70 is a pretty respectable speed. Its weaknesses are abundant. They are Fighting, Ground, Water, Grass, and Ice. Water and Grass are 4 times weak, so they will just obliterate us. We are immune to Electric, and we resist normal, Flying, Poison, Rock, and Fire Pokemon. So we do have a lot of resistances. I'd rather just not have any resistances at all if I didn't have any weaknesses. I'd rather not have all these weaknesses. There's so many things that are going to obliterate us in this game. And here's our move pool. We start off with Tackle. Tackle is a 35 base power move. It's normal. It's 95% accurate. I don't like this move at all, but there are worse moves to start the game with. I mean, I literally just talked about Gligar. Gligar started with Poison Sting, which is I think it's a 15 base power move. It's garbage. We also get Screech. Screech is useful because Screech will lower the opposition's defense by 2 stages. And that'll be very helpful in the early game to make Tackle a little bit more powerful. Be very helpful against Brock as well. We also get Bide at level 15. Think of Bide, and it pretty much acts like Wrap. So that's a move we're going to probably use for a little bit, not very much, but a little bit. It is 75% accurate. So a lot of these moves have no accuracy. We're very fast Pokemon. We can't utilize that because half our moves, so it just won't hit all the time. And then at level 19, we get Rock Throw. Rock Throw in Generation 1 kind of has, it's pretty much nerfed. It's really bad. 65% accurate. It is a stab move, so it's not 50 base power, it's 75 base power, which is useful. However, like I said, 65% accurate. It might as well be, might as well just be 50% accurate at this point. It's going to be a coin flip every time. That can be useful in a lot of situations if this is just a lot more accurate. Rage at level 25, probably not going to use this move. It's garbage. Slam, probably not going to use that move either. At level 33, we will be having a much better move. Body Slam is a better move than Slam, and it's more accurate, it's more powerful, and we can get that via TM long before level 33. At least I think we will. At level 43, we will actually get a move that's useful. It's Harden. Harden is a badge boosting move. So what it does, Harden will up your Harden will up your defense by 1 stage. With the badge boost glitch, if you don't know what that is, whenever you modify a stat in Generation 1, if you have a corresponding badge to a stat, it will add another 12.5% to that stat. So for example, after we beat Brock, we get a 12.5% boost to our attack stat. After Brock, every time we use Harden, our attack stat will go up by 12.5%, at least until we level up. So Harden we use 6 times, so we can really boost our stats. However, like I said, we're pretty frail in some ways. We have a lot of weaknesses, so we have to use that sparingly. But this Pokemon, I played through this a long time ago. If you don't know, the way I started this channel is I did a playthrough Pokemon Blue, and I played through an order of the Pokédex. So I have played through Onix before, but I didn't have the stat layout. I didn't have it was just basically show up and play is how the playthroughs went. And this Pokemon did not do well. It took like 3 hours to beat the game. I know a lot more, but I'm going to have to go back and rewatch my old playthrough just so I'm knowledgeable about where I struggled. That's going to be something I do, and I think it's going to be a smart thing to do. But this Pokemon is going to struggle immensely. Now, our level up move pool is not great. That's kind of the whole point of this Pokemon. It's not very good. Our TM move pool is definitely going to help this Pokemon immensely. So we're going to move on to that here in a second. But Harden is really the only move via level up we're going to use. Let's talk about a move set from top to bottom. Toxic we won't use. It's a stall tactic, and we can't stall out with this Pokemon. It's just not possible with this Pokemon being how frail it is. Body Slam is a great move to have. 85 base power, 100% accurate. It does go off our physical attack stat, so it's not extremely good, but it's better than, Tackle and things like that. Takedown and Double Edge, we probably won't use. Double Edge as a possibility, but we're probably not going to use it. Rage, we're not going to use it via level up while we use it via TM. Earthquake and Dig I want to talk about because those are both the same power, but Earthquake is 1 turn, whereas Dig is 2, but they are very useful moves. They're going to really unlock this Pokemon around the mid-game and give us some possibilities we didn't have otherwise. Now, Fissure is a move that I did not use in the original playthrough for good reason. It's not really a great move. It is a 1-hit knockout capability and is only 30% accurate. However, I had to overlevel immensely in the original playthrough to win because we just come across some big problems. So the way Fissure works is whatever the level of the opposition is, as long as you're high level, it adds 1% of accuracy for every level you're over. So if we're like 10 levels higher than the opposition, we can get this up to 40% accurate. Now, that is not great, no, but it's better than being a 30% accurate move. And there might be some things we can solve by just having a one-hit knockout capable move. Something to consider. I haven't decided yet. This is way off. This is like the last Pokemon I'm going to play through in the Rock-type challenge, so I got some ways to go, but that's something to consider. Mimic is a move where you can mimic and move off the opposition. I don't know how useful this is. Like I said, we're frail. I mean, we have high defense, but we're weak to a lot of things, so I don't know how good that's going to be. The Mimic is definitely possible with any Pokemon that can get Mimic. You always want to think like maybe I can do like Agility or something and Badge Boost. We just don't know, but it's definitely a possibility. Double Team is outlawed in my playthroughs. Can't use it. Bide, probably not going to use. Self-Destruct, definitely can't use in the playthrough. Skull Bash, not going to use. Rest, potentially. Explosion, no. Rock Slide, yes, that is a stab move. It is definitely an upgrade over Rock Throw. As soon as we get to Celadon City, we're going to get this move in and add it, and it's going to be a huge upgrade over what we had. Substitution and Strength will not be used in this playthrough. This Pokemon does not have a lot of things going for it. Our in-game move pool, we'll be looking at here, Body Slam, Earthquake, Rock Slide, and what? Harden, that's pretty much it, and that's not great. And then somewhere in there, we might throw in Fissure. Now, here's the thing. The biggest problem we had in the original playthrough was dealing with Lance's Gyarados. It's going to go for Hydro Pump every stinking time. So we had to get over leveled to the point where Rock Slide would be a one-shot, and even that was less like a crapshoot because it's still not that accurate. It's only 9% accurate. There's a lot of problems with this Pokemon. We had a low physical attack stat with this Pokemon, so that didn't help us either. It was just so many things just converge, and this Pokemon is just one of the worst Pokemon in this game. I have the utmost confidence that this Pokemon will be the worst Pokemon in this challenge because we're not going to do Ditto, so we don't have to worry about, Ditto's BS that we're going to have with Ditto. So we're not worrying about that. I think this Pokemon will be the worst Pokemon in this challenge. It was one of my worst Pokemon playthroughs in the playthrough of the Pokédex. So I have a feeling it's going to be bad here. We know the stats here, so we can actually see the stats and maybe see some ranges. So a little more information is going to help, but I don't think it's going to make it that much better. The Pokemon I think will come in 5th place in this challenge is Aerodactyl. Now, Aerodactyl comes in with some fantastic stats. HP is 80, Attack is 105, Defense is 65, Special is 60, and Speed is 130. These stats are fantastic. This Pokemon definitely does not lack in the stats. Where it does lack is in the move pool. We'll go over that in a minute. Let's go over its weaknesses. We are weak to Rock, Water, Electric, and Ice. Again, we don't have Steel type in Generation 1. We are immune to ground moves, and we resist normal, flying, poison, bug, and fire. Not quite as bad as, Onix, but it's still not great. Now, here's the big problem with this Pokemon, is its move pool. It starts the game out with a decent move. I'm not going to sit here and say Wing Attack is not a decent move. It's pretty good. 35 base power, 100% accurate. With Stab, it ends up being about 53 base power. We also get Agility, so we have a badge boosting moves. Once we beat Brock's Gym, we can do Agility, and we can up our attack stat, making our moves that much more effective. The rest of the moves with this Pokemon aren't great. Supersonic level 33. The reason why these moves are so skewed is you don't get this Pokemon until you get to Cinnabar Island. It's the old Amber. You take it there, and they take fossil Pokemon and reanimate them, and this is how you get Aerodactyl. And so all the moves are skewed to whenever you can get that. That's why Supersonic isn't available until level 33. At level 38, we get Bite, which again is kind of a garbage move at this point in the game, but it is what it is. We get Takedown at level 45, and then Hyper Beam will probably be useful at level 54, but Takedown will not be useful. There's definitely better moves we can have other than Takedown. Hell, we can get Double Edge long before level 45, so that's going to be a lot better. If these moves were skewed like early in the game, it probably wouldn't be that bad. It also has some pretty big disadvantages because they did not think this through when they made this Pokemon Generation 1. I actually did a what ifs video a couple months ago where I did what if Generation 2 Aerodactyl was brought back to Generation 1. How much better would it make this Pokemon? And it's immensely, because a lot of things aren't available with this Pokemon in Generation 1 that it should be. Let's go over the TM move pool really quick. So Razor Wind we're not going to use. We're not going to use Whirlwind. Toxic's not going to be used. Takedown's not going to be used. Double Edge is probably going to be used. It's a good physical move. It's going to do a little bit of damage to ourselves, but it's a good physical move. It has recoil. Hyper Beam, we've already talked about. We're going to use that via level up. Rage, we're not going to use. Dragon Rage is a move that I've considered using just because it's a guarantee 40 damage every time. We might want to buy that when we get to Celadon City. Mimic, we're definitely going to use that to help with a badge boost or maybe steal a move from somebody. It'll be very useful with this Pokemon. Double Team's outlawed. Reflect, not going to use. Bide, probably not going to use. Fire Blast, maybe. We don't have great physical attack or a special attack or anything like that, so Fire Blast may be useful. We just don't have a lot of options with this Pokemon. That's the biggest thing. There's not a lot of variety in the move pool here, and there's some glaring moves that we just don't get in this generation that's really aggravating. First off, Wing Attack, even though it is it's okay to start the game with, it's not very powerful. In Generation 2, wing attack is like 60 base power, whereas in this generation it's 30. It's was it 35? So it's not very good. We will get access to Swift. I think Swift would be useful to this Pokemon. We get access to Sky Attack. I probably won't use Sky Attack with this Pokemon. It's a very risky move. It's a boom or bust move. I just don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. I'd rather just be more consistent with Fly. So I think Fly will be the better move. And obviously Rest will probably be useful with this Pokemon. And then Substitute we won't use in this playthrough. What does our in-game moveset look like? It probably looks like Fly, Agility, Hyper Beam, and what else? Fire Blast. Maybe I probably won't be Double Edge because we don't need two normal type moves. We need some varieties. Probably going to be Fly, Fire Blast, maybe Rest instead. It's not a great move pool. This Pokemon does struggle in Generation 1. It does not have Rock Slide. This Pokemon blatantly should have Rock Slide, and it does not have Rock Slide. It has a lot of things going for it. Like I said, it has great speed. It has great stats. Its worst stat is Special at 60. That's not bad, especially for a Pokemon only learned one move, that one special move, and that is Fire Blast. That's not horrible. But the problem with this Pokemon is it doesn't get moves that it doesn't synergize. There are some Pokemon that synergize very well. If this Pokemon had Rock Slide, a lot of things will work better for it. It just does not synergize. The stats line up with some of its move. It's got good physical attack stats. It's got great speed. It's the fastest Rock-type Pokemon. It's one of the fastest Pokemon in the game, actually, but it's the fastest Rock-type Pokemon. And the problem, like I said, we're having is it just doesn't synergize. If it had Rock, like when I played through and used Rock Slide in my what if scenario, it played through great. The only thing I wish I could do in that what if scenario is I wish I could have modified Wing Attack to be more powerful. So this Pokemon's going to do not great, and it is known as the Fossil Pokemon. That's actually, I didn't know it was called the Fossil Pokemon until right now. I'm reading the screen. That's a really dumb name for a Pokemon. There's a lot of Fossil Pokemon. There's like 3 other ones. But anyway, that's Aerodactyl. I think will come in 5th place. The next Pokemon I want to talk about is Pokemon I think will come in 4th place, and that is Rhydon. Rhydon is known as the Drill Pokemon. It's got some good stats, got some bad stats. HP is 1 of 5. That's a great stat. Attack 130. That's excellent. Defense is 120. That's amazing. And then Special is 45. Garbage. And Speed, very much garbage at 40. This Pokemon, like I said, great stats in some ways and horrible stats in others. Here's what we're weak to. Fighting, ground, water, grass, and ice. We are 4 times weak to water and grass. We are resisted to electric. And we are immune to electric. And we resist normal, flying, poison, rock, and fire. Here's our move pool. Now this is kind of the problem with this Pokemon, is all of its moves via level up are normal type. We are not a normal type Pokemon. This may look like it could be normal, like a rhinoceros seems like it could just be a normal animal. However, it's a rock rhinoceros, so it is rock ground type. And this Pokemon starts off with some decent moves. I'm not considering to say these moves are bad. Some of the advantages of using some of these moves are negated because this Pokemon has garbage speed. For example, Horn Attack is a pretty good move, 65 base power, 100% accurate. Stomp can make the opposition flinch. However, we don't outspeed most oppositions unless we're over-leveled. So we're going to be not taking advantage of the flinching, but it is still a pretty powerful move. 65 base power, 100% accurate. Tail Whip will lower the opposition's defense. We won't utilize that very well. We have pretty good attack. We probably won't need to do that. Maybe against Brock we'll use it. And then Fury Attack, 15 base power, 85% accurate. It does hit multiple times, but I probably will not use this move at all. And then we get the same moves repeated because this Pokemon is very weird. Now at 48 we get Horn Drill. This is what I mean by this move does not synergize with this Pokemon. It doesn't work well with this Pokemon. We are slow. So if we don't outspeed the opposition, we can't use Horn Drill. So if we do outspeed the opposition, that means we're like way over leveled or it's such a garbage Pokemon, we just might as well use other moves. I don't understand why this. I mean, I get why this Pokemon gets Horn Drill. I mean, Horn Drill, look at its face. I mean, it has a horn on it, so that's why it gets Horn Drill. Clear and then Takedown. So the best move we get via level up is supposed to be Takedown, that's just garbage to me. But that's why we have a TM move pool. This Pokemon's move pool, except via level up, it's all normal. It does not make sense. If we did a challenge where we had to play through and beat this Pokemon on just its normal move pool, like level up move pool, we couldn't do it because nothing here can hit anything that's ghost type. Let's go over to the team move pool. Mega Punch can be used, 80 base power, 85% accurate, but I probably won't because it's another normal move, so why would I get another normal move? Mega Kick, not going to use. Toxic Horn Drill, not going to use. Body Slam is a great move to have, 85 base power, 100% accurate. That'll definitely be an upgrade over a bunch of the other normal moves that we have. Takedown, Double Edge, not going to use. Now here's what's weird about this Pokemon. Get access to Water Gun, Bubble Beam, Ice Beam, Blizzard. Even though we have low special, this will be very useful against a couple things in the game because we're going to come across other rock-type Pokemon, and these moves will help us just one-shot and obliterate those Pokemon that we come across. We also get access to Hyper Beam. We're probably not going to use Hyper Beam, but we get access to it. Payday, not going to use. Submission, not going to use. Counter, not going to use. Seismic will give us 1 damage per level, so that has some niche use. Rage, not going to use. Thunderbolt, we're definitely going to use Thunderbolt, 95 base power, 100% accurate. This will be a good counter for Gyarados. Thunder, not going to use. It's wildly inaccurate, so I'm not going to use it. Earthquake and Dig are the same moves we're going to talk about, just like Onix, that we give this Pokemon. Earthquake and Dig are 100 base power moves, are 150 with stab, 100% accurate. Dig's 2 turns. This would be very useful. We're not going to be able to beat Misty until we get Dig, so that's going to be very helpful, and we're knocking out speed, so we're going to have to overlevel, but that's a problem for that playthrough. And Earthquake, it's just a better version of Dig because you don't have to worry about taking 2 turns. Fissure, I already talked about Fissure with Onix. Onix, it makes sense because Onix outspeeds. This is not going to outspeed a lot of things. Fissure has no utility here, just like Horn Drill has no utility with this Pokemon. As we move on, Mimic, we're going to mimic a move, maybe. Badge boosting is something we can do. We don't get a badge boosting move with this Pokemon. With all the previous 2 Pokemon we talked about, Onix and Aerodactyl both had a badge boosting move. This Pokemon does not, so it might be something we have to utilize using Mimic. Double Team and Bide are not going to be used. I don't see where Fire Blast has any use in this playthrough. If we're going to use anything that's like weak to fire, you might as well just use a Blizzard. Anything weak to fire is also weak to Blizzard, so it's just a better move. It has better outcomes. Skull Bash, not going to use Rest. Probably going to be used with this Pokemon. Rock Slide, Stab move, probably going to be used with this Pokemon. It's going to counter a lot of things. Probably actually going to be better than using Thunderbolt, to be honest, because it actually is Stab, and it goes off our physical attack stat rather than off our special. So Thunderbolt may not be as useful as I thought. Rock Slide will be better. And then we have Surf and Strength. I don't know why this Pokemon gets Surf, but it does. This Pokemon is pretty cool. It's the first Pokemon ever made, actually. I don't know if anyone knows that. The very first Pokemon. However, this Pokemon just is hot garbage when it comes to its stats. It has some great moves. It has one of the most broad move pools there is in this game. It actually is the broadest move pool of all the rock types for sure. So it has a lot of variety. Has a lot of ways you can hit the opposition. But its limitation on its special and its speed are going to really hinder this. The next Pokemon I want to talk about is Golem. Golem is a Pokemon that's pretty solid across the board. It's the Magneton Pokemon. I don't know what that means. HP is 80, attack is 110, defense is 130, special is 55, and speed is 45. Decent stats, but just like with Rhydon, we have horrible special and horrible speed, but it's slightly better than Rhydon. And we have a weakness to fighting, ground, water, grass, and ice. We're 4 times weak to water and grass. We are immune to electric, and we resist normal, flying, poison, rock, and fire type moves. Not bad. It's pretty much the same across the board for every Pokemon we've had to deal with so far. Aerodactyl resisted the fighting type because it's flying, and now let's look at the move pool for this Pokemon. Tackle, 35 base power, 95% accurate. We start the game with a Defense Curl. Just like with Onix, we get a move that's going to badge boost. We get this one right away rather than waiting, so that's something we can kind of take advantage of early. So once we badge boost, we're going to be able to take this move and up our attack stat and use it early in the game. Rock Throw at level 16, it's not going to be that useful, just like with Onix, because its accuracy is garbage. We cannot use Self-Destruct at level 21. As soon as we Self-Destruct, we have to pick a reset, and I just don't see the point in that. Harden, it's pretty much the same as Defense Scroll, but I'll probably just use Harden just because it's a more useful end-game move. It's the same exact thing as Defense Scroll, and I need you to go back for a second. Go back, there we go. And we'll talk about these last 2 moves, and then we'll move on to the DM move pool. Harden, I already know what it does. Badge boosts. Earthquake, we get that via level up, 100 base power, 150 with stab, and it's 100% accurate. It's a very powerful move. We might actually get this move before Misty. It's definitely possible because we're going to need to be high level to outspeed Misty, and we might get to level 36 to utilize this. And then the last move, level 43, is useless. It's Explosion. So moving on to our TM move pool. It's not very broad with this Pokemon, but we'll go over it nonetheless. We do get some good things. Mega Punch, we'll probably add that early. That'll be a physical move that's an upgrade over Tackle. Mega Kick we won't use. Toxic we won't use. Body Slam we'll replace Mega Punch at some point. 85 base power, 100% accurate. We get that when we get on the SSN. That'll be very useful. Takedown and Double Edge, not going to be that useful. I don't think I'm going to use either one of those. Hyper Beam, maybe in the Elite Four, it's possible. Submission and Counter, not going to use. However, Seismic Toss will be useful because it does 1 damage per level, so that's useful as well. Rage, not going to use. Earthquake and Dig I've already discussed with all the ground types and rock types that can get it. It's a very good move. It's a stab move. It's the best move we're going to have in the game. Fissure, probably the same thing as like Onix. Probably the same thing as Rhydon. Probably not going to be able to use it because I'm not going to outspeed a lot of things. Mimic lets us mimic move from the opposition. Will that be useful? Yeah, not really, because we are able to badge boost, so we don't need to do that. Double Team, not going to use. Bide, not going to use. Metronym, not going to use. Self-Destruct, not going to use. Fire Blast, I don't see utility for Fire Blast. I don't know why this Pokemon gets it. However, I just don't see a way to use this move and be useful in the Elite Four. If there's like a grass type specialist, I can maybe see there's a use there. But other than that, Fire Blast, not useful. Rest, probably going to be a little bit useful in the Elite Four. Explosion, can't use. Rock Slide, great move to have. It's Stab. Add that. This will be our counter for Gyarados, another flying type Pokemon. Substitute and Strength. So this Pokemon has pretty solid. Now, I don't know if you saw this, but a long time ago, probably about 2 years ago at this point, I did a versus series with Golem versus Rhydon. Now, I didn't have the overlay that shows stats, so I didn't know what badge boost was giving us what and things like that. But this Pokemon outdid Rhydon. I think with more information and being able to badge boost, I think this Pokemon will do even better than it did last time. However, I do think it's going to end up in 3rd place in this challenge. I don't think it's going to end up in the top 2. And that top 2 are just completely different types of Pokemon than the 4 we've talked about so far. The next Pokemon I want to talk about, which is a Pokemon I think will come in 2nd place, is Omastar. Omastar comes in with some amazing stats. It has 70 HP, that's okay. Attack is 60, manageable. Defense is 125. Special is 115. That's great for this Pokemon. It has a lot of special moves. And speed is 55. That's manageable. Not greatest in some of the stats, but the special and defense is amazing. We are weak to fighting, ground, grass, and electric. We're 4 times weak to grass. We have no immunities, but we are resistant to normal, flying, poison, fire, and ice type. The stats of this Pokemon really are great, especially when you see our level up move pool and our team move pool. Those things coincide very well. This is what I call a synergistic Pokemon. It synergizes very well. We start the game with Water Gun. Water Gun is great. 40 base power, 60 with stab, 100% accurate. Goes off for a special stat, so it's very powerful. We also get Withdrawal, which let us badge boost right after we beat Brock's Gym. So if we ever need to fight something that is resistant to water, we just withdraw a couple times, and then boom, we can use our physical attack stat, a more powerful version of Horn Attack. Horn Attack's a 65 base power move, 100% accurate. And this Pokemon, just like with Aerodactyl, was a Pokemon you can get later in the game because you gotta get the Cinnabar Island to revive the fossil. So all of its moves are skewed. So that's why nothing happens between level technically 5, but not level 1, but it's technically level 5. 5 and 34, where we get no moves. Leer we're not going to use, Spike Cannon not going to use, and Hydro Pump we will not use with this Pokemon. There are much better moves we can utilize in our team move pool. So let's go ahead and dive into our team move pool. The team move pool is as follows. We're going to start from top to bottom. Toxic, not going to use. Horn Drill. There might be a niche use for Horn Drill, but we're not going to outspeed a lot of things, so I don't think it's a strategy I want to implement across the board. It might be like one battle we're looking for a boom or bust. That might be useful. Body Slam, 85 base power, 100% accurate. Once we get the SSN, that'll be an upgrade over Horn Drill, and it can paralyze the opposition. Definitely an improvement over Horn Drill. It's good, or not Horn Drill, Horn Attack. It's a great move to have. Takedown and Double Edge not going to use. Water Gun and Bubble Beam are definitely going to be useful. We're not going to pick up the TM for Water Gun. We're going to have it at that point in the game. But Bubble Beam will be an upgrade over Water Gun. Very powerful move. Goes off for a special. Ice Beam and Blizzard also goes off for a special. So those moves will be great. We might use Hyper Beam in the end game. I haven't decided yet. Submission not going to use. Seismic Toss, maybe. There's a trainer right outside of Bill's house that has 2 grass Pokemon that we might not be able to one-shot with Horn Drill. So we might use Seismic Toss as a 2-shot option. Rage not going to use. Mimic, definitely a possibility. I'm trying to think of where I would use Mimic, where Withdrawal wouldn't help us, but it's definitely a possibility I don't want to rule out. Double Team, not going to use. Reflect, not going to use. Bide, not going to use. Skull Bash, not going to use. Rest, probably to recover some health, especially after setting up and trying to sweep a team. Substitute, not going to use. And Surf, probably useful by using use Surf in a playthrough because you can't delete it. With this Pokemon, I might not have other options, so it might be the best option. I have not decided yet. So this Pokemon, I might actually convince myself to think this Pokemon might end up in 1st place. I think it will have the best start to all the rock types. I think it will go through Brock's Gym, and the early game will be very fast. It's where the mid game happens. I think we're going to hit some bricks hit some brick walls because we start running into grass type Pokemon that we just can't one-shot. We don't have solutions for until we get Ice Beam. So that's going to be a problem. But I think this Pokemon will come in 2nd, maybe even 1st. I can see a scenario where it could outplay 1st place Pokemon. The Pokemon I think is going to win the whole thing is Kabutops. Kabutops is known as the Shellfish Pokemon, and it comes in with some very good stats. HP is 60, Attack is 115, Defense is 105, Special is 70, and Speed is 80. Really good stat distribution. HP being the worst stat is not the worst thing ever. And then we have decent Special, decent Speed, but very good attack and very good defense with this Pokemon. Let's go and talk about the weaknesses and resistances. We are weak to fighting, ground, we are 4 times weak to grass, and we are weak to electric. We have no immunities. We are resistant to normal, flying, poison, fire, and ice. We're actually 4 times resistant to fire moves. So that's pretty good. Now let's look at our level up move pool. This Pokemon starts off with some pretty good moves. Not quite as good as Omastar, but I'll explain why, but it kind of counters it. For example, Scratch is a physical move. It's 40 base power. Not quite as good as Horn Attack, which is 65 base power. However, we have a really high physical attack stat compared to Omastar, so that's better for us. Harden is just like Withdrawal, so that's the same. And Absorb is not quite as good. Now, I'm not going to say quite as good. It's not as good as Water Gun. That's not even like a fair comparison. However, it'll be good enough to get us by Brock. And it is a grass move that will replenish some health. So that'll do the job, and then eventually we'll get Water Gun and Mount Moon, and then this Pokemon will start speeding up. Now, just like Aerodactyl and just like Omastar, this Pokemon's moves are skewed towards later in the game because you can't get it until you get to Cinnabar Island to revive the fossil. So Slash is a move we can get at level 39 that we can't really utilize with this Pokemon. We're not going to use Leer, and we're also not going to use Hydro Pump. The level up move pool of this Pokemon is Saving Grace. We're not going to use Razor Wind. Don't know why this Pokemon gets Razor Wind. However, we will use Swords Dance. Swords Dance is, in my opinion, the best badge boosting move in the game. It ups your physical attack stat by 2 stages every time you do it, and you do it 3 times. This Pokemon already has great physical attack stat, and you pair that up with some other moves, like, for example, we're going to use Body Slam, 85 base power, 100% accurate. This move becomes absolutely amazing. Now, I'm just realizing this Pokemon does not have access to Dig or Earthquake, which I think is a huge oversight, but we'll still find a way to make it work. Not going to use Takedown, not going to use Mega Kick, not going to use Toxic, not going to use Double Edge. Water Gun and Bubble Beam are going to be very useful moves. We're going to come across other Rock Pokemon. These will be useful against Fire-type Pokemon. Very useful. And Bubble Beam is very powerful once we get it, so we want to beat Misty as soon as possible. And we get that. It's like a 98 base power move, 100% accurate. Going off for a pretty decent special. We get Ice Beam and Blizzard. Those will be useful as well. Hyper Beam probably won't use because Body Slam will be so boosted by Swords Dance. There's no point in having a 90% accurate move. We just go for the sure thing with Body Slam. Submission won't be used. Seismic Toss will be used. It'll give us 1 damage per level, and that'll be very helpful with the trainer right outside of Bill's house. Rage, not going to use Mimic. Possibly, but we don't really need the badge boost. We do have Harden that we're going to use the badge boost. Double Team, not going to use Reflect. Bide, Skull Bash, not going to use Rest. Maybe after we've set up, we might want to use Rest to recover some health and then sweep a team. Substitute, Cut, and Surf. Do we use Surf? That's a possibility. This Pokemon I haven't decided yet, but with the variety or lack thereof of our moves, it might be a possibility. I just made a mistake there when I said we're going to use Harden to badge boost. We're not going to use Harden to badge boost. We will for a while, but as soon as we get Swords Dance, Harden is an afterthought. Our in-game move pool looks like it's going to be Swords Dance, Ice Beam or Blizzard, Body Slam, and then maybe Surf. That's probably what it's going to be. So that seems like a pretty solid move pool to me. Now, let's go and look at the tier list that we have. I don't believe any of these Pokemon are really going to break into the top 10. I think we might be able to get 2 of these Pokemon into the sub 45 category, the S tier, which is going to be Kabutops and Omastar. Having the water typing really takes away a lot of the other problems that the other Pokemon have. And I see 2 of the Pokemon being in like maybe the C or D tier, and I have 2 Pokemon probably end up in the F tier. Onix and Aerodactyl will both end up in the F tier. I don't think that either one of those is going to have good runs. I think Rhydon and Golem going to land somewhere in the D and C tier. And then you're going to have Omastar and Kabutops. They're going to end up somewhere in the A tier, maybe S tier. It depends on how good a run we have. That's what I predict. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's my prediction. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Who do you think is going to win? What Pokemon you think is going to have the biggest advantages? Who's your favorite Rock-type Pokemon in Generation 1? Let me know in the comment section down below. And then this Friday, we have our playthrough of Dugtrio. Dugtrio, pretty solid playthrough. I really should have gone back and watched my playthrough I did a long time ago just to kind of get some more information. The optimized playthrough would definitely have a different strategy than we did in this playthrough, so tune in for that. Without further ado, that's my video. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. This is JD, this is Polywar's Wrath. Let me know what you think, comment, like, subscribe, all those good things. They help out the channel a lot. You have no idea how much it helps. Have a good one. I'll see you guys next time.